Hey guys, welcome back. This is Mohsen. I'm here today with another functions video. Today I'm going to be talking about routines. Let's start. So the first thing that we want to talk about routines is the word wake up. Explanation is when you open your eyes and stop sleeping. That is waking up. For example, I usually wake up at 6:30 in the morning for school. Next one is get up. Get up is getting out of the bed after you wake up. So some people confuse these two expressions together, but waking up is when you open your eyes. Getting up is when you are getting out of the bed. Another one, we have brushing teeth. Clean your teeth with a toothbrush. For example, I always brush my teeth after breakfast. Another one is having breakfast. Having breakfast is when you eat your first meal of the day. For example, I have breakfast at 7 a.m. before going to work. So have it in your mind that we don't say eating breakfast, we say having breakfast. After breakfast, most of the people go to work or go to school. So when you want to go to your school or to your job, you use go to school or go to work. My kids go to school at 8 and I go to work at 8:30. Next one, study. When you learn to do something, you're studying. For example, I study English every evening for an hour. I hope you do that too. Let's continue. Same as having breakfast, we have having lunch. When you eat your midday meal, you're having lunch. For example, we usually have lunch at 1 p.m. at the office. Another one, come home. Explanation. When you return to your house after being out. For example, I come home from work at 5 p.m. Another one, have a dinner when you are eating your evening meal. For example, my family has dinner together at 7:30 p.m. Next one, watching TV. When you look at and listen to the television program, you're watching TV. Pretty simple, right? For example, after dinner, I watch TV for an hour to relax. This is one thing that most of the people do, right? Next one is going to bed. Lie down to sleep for the night. For example, I usually go to bed at 10:30. Now let's talk about frequency adverbs and time expressions. First one, always. Always is when something happens 100% of the time. For example, I always brush my teeth before bed. Another one, usually, almost every time, around 80 to 90% of the time. For example, I usually go to work by bus. Next one, often. Often explains many times, but not always. For example, I often eat lunch with my coworkers. Sometimes. Sometimes is somehow in between, like 50% of the times. Not all the time, but occasionally. For example, I sometimes take a nap in the afternoon. Rarely is not very often. For example, I rarely eat fast food. I hope you do that too. And never is 0% of the time, where you never do something. For example, I never smoke. Now we have a question for asking about frequency of when something is happening. We use how often. For example, how often do you go to the gym? Now we have some answers to that. For example, once. Once is one time. I go to the cinema once a month. When you want to talk about something that you do 2 times, you can say twice. For example, I brush my teeth twice a day. Maybe it's 1 in the morning, 1 before bed. 3 times. I call my mom 3 times a week. And last one, every day, every week or every month, which is repeats daily, weekly or monthly as the explanation. For example, I drink coffee every day. We have a meeting every week. I visit my grandmother every month. This was all I have to give you for this session. Thank you. See you soon.